Are we burying Zach Wilson too soon? The latest Hall of Fame semifinalists are here. Who should make the cut? Plus, our Week 12 power rankings.
You are Locked On NFL, your daily NFL podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What up, and welcome in to another edition of Locked On NFL. He's Tony Wiggins. I'm James Rapien. Thank you so much for making us your first listen. Are we overreacting to Zach Wilson's struggles against the Patriots and really his struggles all season long? We're going to talk New York Jets football in just a second. But first, a reminder that today's show brought to you by LinkedIn. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. And thank you so much for making us your first listen here on Locked On NFL. Let's dive into this, Tony, because Zach Wilson was 9 of 22, 103 yards against the Patriots. Everyone wants to bury him. It's all Jimmy G's going to make so much money for the Jets next year. Is Aaron Rodgers going to pull a Brett Favre and end up in New York? I mean, there's so much talk on social media right now about the Jets quarterback situation. And let me ask you, what are your thoughts on Zach Wilson? What are your thoughts on Robert Saleh deciding to essentially not commit to Wilson, but kind of open things up to a competition, which if you do that in New York, it is a slippery, slippery slope.
I would hate to be Saleh and have to answer that question. And I know us media types have to do our job. I get it. But when you're still probably processing all of that stuff, for somebody to just ask you, are you considering this? If you say no and then you do it, then you're a liar. If you say, yeah, I'm considering it, well, you probably already done it. You know what I'm saying? Because you stopped that train from moving in that direction. And you probably, until you say it, you got everybody sitting around with bated breath with their eyes all big, not knowing what the next move is. I don't know if the performance on the field is what is getting this kid canceled by a lot of people. I tell you what it would, though, and what will, and we talk about this all the time. When people get tired of hearing you talk, once someone is tired of hearing you and they've checked out, really nothing you say is going to work. And I think what his problem is he's a little smug, man. He has this little thing where you have to know when to take it all on yourself, even if you don't believe it. You are the de facto person that has to be blamed for everything because you're the one who gets credit when everything goes well because you're the quarterback. And so I get the sense when trying to read the room from a distance that he has a lack of accountability that is pissing his teammates off and those people in the locker room. And he's not doing that part of it. And at that position, that's exactly what you have to do. At some point, you got to, even when it's not your fault, man, you can go out there and go 25 for 26 for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns and no picks. And you can say, you know what? I should have completed that other pass. And if I did, we wouldn't be in this situation. That's what you have to do. And when you're the guy, you can't talk about the win. When you're the guy with the strong rifle arm, and oh, by the way, the dude that's supposed to have a noodle arm completes a high percentage of his passes in those same conditions. That doesn't look well to your team. And I think the problem right now for him is even his own people don't believe it.
It's twofold. One, Zach Wilson should have absolutely took some accountability for that. Obviously, they were awful on offense. They were the worst. You can't put up 3 points against anyone. I don't care. All right. And it's not like they don't have weapons. They have some weapons. Were conditions great? No. Could the offense be, help him out a little bit? I don't know. You know why? Because he couldn't complete a pass behind the line of scrimmage. So it was awful. With that said, Tony, the Jets are the Jets are the Jets are the Jets. And the Jets are going to jet. Because last week, what did Zach Wilson do? He was 18 of 25. He wasn't the reason that they handled business against the Bills, but he kept them in it, didn't turn the ball over, had a 101 quarterback rating, threw 1 touchdown, no picks, like I said, and ran for 24 yards, was solid.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's, oh my God, he's the worst thing ever. Oh, calm the heck down. And I almost said something that on our national show that I shouldn't say. Calm down.
I would have said
that's the problem. Is everyone's losing their mind now? What? Because Bill Belichick's defense is really good?
Like,
right?
Duh,
because
right.
Zach Wilson, a young quarterback, struggled against Bill Belichick. Welcome to the club. That's the part of it. And now you got all these national analysts. Oh, man, you got to go to Joe Flacco. I saw a national analyst on Tuesday, and I was at the gym. I wasn't tuned into this person, so it's not like I'm just giving him attention. But this gentleman said that they needed to go to one of the other quarterbacks on the roster. I would assume it would be Mike White. But go to another quarterback on the roster because they would be worried about Zach Wilson getting booed at MetLife this week. What? Who cares?
Yeah,
you know when they're not going to boo at MetLife? Halfway through the game if you're beating up on the Chicago Bears. So everyone get a grip and realize that you've overachieved this season if you're the Jets. Calm down, Robert. And keep that same attitude that you did after the game where you're sticking with the kid. You're not going to – Mike White isn't the answer, and you're going to get crushed if you somehow make it to the playoffs with him. You know who's not the answer? Joe Flacco. 10 years ago, people were talking about if he was a lead or not. So that's not the answer either. The answer is either Zach Wilson or someone that isn't on the roster. Keep starting Zach Wilson. Tell him that he needs to be more accountable and understand and be direct with him, while also having the perspective that he's 5-2 as the starter this year. He played well against the Bills, who are considerably better, at least on paper, than the Patriots. And Bill Belichick kicks the tail of plenty of young quarterbacks. Like, just stop overreacting because he said no. You know why Zach Wilson said no? Part of the reason is because he was worried that whatever he did say was going to get blown up, and he misspoke. Now, that is on him because when you're QB1, you need to figure it out and say the right things and do the right things. You're right. And he needs to be more accountable. But this idea that they need to bench him for who? For who? Who are we talking about right now?
Right.
Zach Wilson should continue to start.
I would agree. And I think he should continue to start because if you have your finger on the pulse of the team and you're the coach, you select who you don't wait until it's evident. Let me give you an example. If you know your kid is bad, right? Then you need to discipline your kid. Don't wait till your kid goes to the grocery store and throws a tantrum in the aisle and knocks all the cans down to say, oh, now I'm going to be a disciplinarian. No, you live with him. You knew that little demon was going to do that at some point. So my thing is, as a leader, you have to make proactive choices and not reactionary choices and decisions for your football team. And if Saleh thought that Zach Wilson gave them the best chance to win Sunday morning, he should probably think that he gives them the best chance to win Monday morning. He just had a bad game. He had a bad game. Right. Yeah. But I will tell you this, though. Some of the things that led up to draft day and that were said about him, this arm strength, this Patrick Mahomes arm and throwing trick shots, that's the stuff I think that's blinding people about this kid right now, because you can't tell me you can't throw the ball in the wind when everyone saw you throwing trick shots and flipping the ball every which way. See, the thing, it's the hole that he's digging himself out of now. And nobody's giving you the benefit of the doubt, because the very thing that you failed to do the other day was what everyone says that you could do really well, right? That you could throw the ball in the wind, that you could, it wouldn't bother you because you could throw a strawberry through a moving locomotive. Well, now you got to live with all of that acclaim, and it's going to affect the way people feel about you. That's why these preconceived notions about these dudes, man, sometimes it gets them in more trouble than it does help them in the long run.
For sure. No doubt. And, we could debate that and go back and debate picking him and all of those things. But let's not go too crazy. No. And just a little perspective. Did you get outplayed by the Patriots? Yeah, absolutely you did. Can you fix it? Absolutely you can. Starting this week with the Chicago Bears. We'll see what they do in New York. Up next, Hall of Fame semifinalists have been announced. Who should make the cut? We will talk about that next right here on Locked On NFL. Today's show is sponsored by BetterHelp Therapy Online. BetterHelp Therapy Online is, look, life doesn't come with a user manual. And sometimes you need help, direction, and having a therapist that's trained to figure out the cause and challenging of emotions, to learn to be productive and find the coping skills to get you through those tough times. Well, that's what you're going to get with BetterHelp. Everyone deserves to feel their best. BetterHelp makes it easier to get started. They're the world's largest therapy service. They've matched millions of people with professionally licensed and vetted therapists, available 100% online. They have a whole checklist that they go through to match you with a therapist that is going to be right for you, and you can switch therapists at any time. So get unstuck with BetterHelp. Learn more and save 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/lockedon. That's betterhelp.com/lockedon.
Thank you for joining us here on Locked On Jaguars. Look at that habit. Locked On NFL, making us your first listen here. I tell you, man, I'm all cloudy today, and this is water, by the way. This is not tequila or vodka, so that was just an honest mistake. Hall of Fame, man. They got the eligibility list out, and I think both of us have someone from our own particular fan base, speaking of Jaguars and Bengals, that's on that list that we think deserves some consideration. And then there are some people that I think are absolute locks to get in or should already be in. First of all, let me tell you something. Andre Johnson should have been in already. I think Reggie Wayne has a real good case as a wide receiver, but typically the wide receivers, I'm gonna let you go through the list in a minute. I think the one guy that's a shoe-in is Darrelle Revis. Played in a big market, had a nickname, you know what I'm saying, and was like for 6 years considered the guy. He also is a champion. Dwight Freeney should probably also be a lock. I'm going to make my case for Fred Taylor again. I'm going to do it here today, but first of all, I'm going to let you go through the list first.
Eric Allen, Jared Allen, Willie Anderson, Rondé Barber, Anquan Bolden, Henry Ellard, London Fletcher, Dwight Freeney, James Harrison, Rodney Harrison, Devin Hester, Torrey Holt, Andre Johnson, like you mentioned, Albert Lewis, Robert Mathis, Darrelle Revis, Steve Smith Sr., Fred Taylor, Joe Thomas, Zach Thomas, Hines Ward, DeMarcus Ware, Ricky Waters, Reggie Wayne, Vince Wilfork, Patrick Willis, Darren Woodson. Obviously, a lot of these guys won't make it. I'll give you the locks. Joe Thomas is a lock. He's going to make it. I would be surprised if he didn't.
Right.
To me, Willie Anderson should be in consideration, like you said. He's certainly not a lock. But that's the local one, so I'll get that out of the way. But as far as locks go, Darrelle Revis is a lock. And of the other like potential locks, is James Harrison, Rodney Harrison, Dwight Freeney. I don't know if those are locks. Rondé Barber.
Freeney had a career where he should be, and I don't think Harrison should be a lock. I think Dwight Freeney should be a lock.
Because he harassed your Jaguars for years. You saw him up close.
Yeah, but he did everything he was supposed to do. I mean, just constantly just being that dude consistently for like a decade. Yeah. And I know he's over 100 sacks and he's a champion and all of that. At some point, I disagree with a lot of people that say that it's the Hall of Very Good. You know, it's not the Hall of Very Good. Some guys get in based on career merit. And I love Deion Sanders sometimes, but this whole guy shouldn't have a jacket the same color as me. Well, I think that's a joke because I think in our minds, they're like in the NBA, for instance, there's a pecking order, right? We know when you talk about the greatest players of all time, and then in everybody's mind, there's that other table. And okay, so in the NFL, there's that other table. Deion, you're at that table. Barry Sanders, Lawrence Taylor, Jerry Rice, y'all are at a whole same jacket, different position in the room. Everybody knows that. Sure. And in our consciousness, you know that. You don't have to give them another color jacket. So the thing is those guys dominated. Andre Johnson's statistics. Like if Larry Fitzgerald was on this list, he'll be number one with a bullet. But when you look at those guys' stats, look at what Andre Johnson actually did. I think Andre Johnson had 3 individual seasons that's better than any one season Larry Fitzgerald ever had. So it's just like, and you think his entire career he caught balls from Matt Schaub.
No, and Larry had some bad quarterbacks he was catching.
He did. Both of them
carried the Cardinals to a Super Bowl championship, right? You know, but to your point, Andre Johnson was a baller. And so, like, for example, on this list, is it Andre Johnson or Hines Ward? To me, Hines Ward, this should be it for him. He shouldn't be able to make it past this. Right. And you might say, oh, he's a champion or always this. He was never Andre Johnson. He was never. I don't think he was ever Reggie Wayne.
No.
And again,
now to Steeler fans, he did personify a certain toughness. He was like him and Anquan Bolden seemed like they came from the same egg. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt. And that's great.
Blocking, but that's not it. You're right.
That's not a Hall of Fame.
Doug Baldwin. That's who that is. And I know Pittsburgh Steelers fans are going to think I'm crazy, but just because you personify, an identity for your team doesn't make you a Hall of Fame player.
Yeah, retire his number there, and then that's that, right? And so, yeah, there are a couple on here, and who knows, who else makes it. I think, Willie Anderson should be in. I mean, when you talk about right tackles, you talk to anyone that played against him, and it's like, oh, that dude was a monster. Right. And he just played on some bad teams, and they didn't get good until his ninth season with the Bengals, and then he played a season, a couple seasons with them with Carson, and then after that he went to Baltimore for a year, and then that was that. But yeah, if
another argument is going to happen for the Devin Hester, and I'm a little bit, he's the greatest to ever do that, right? I just don't know if a guy who's like a specialist. But then the late great Ray Guy's there. Mark Mosley's there. I think Vinatieri, if he ain't there, he's going to be there.
He's going to be there, yeah.
So, they're going to definitely put Justin Tucker in there one day. So the thing is if you do that, bro, you can't say that a specialist can't make it. Mm-hmm. He wasn't a great player from the line of scrimmage, though. He just wasn't. But you put him in that punt and kick return area, he was absolutely fabulous. So he's gonna, and he was like really good at it. Like better than Deion Sanders at it.
Yeah.
And, so I'm going to go back to my argument for Fred Taylor.
Real quick, just
go ahead.
On Hines Ward, because there's a couple other receivers here. Who you taking, Hines Ward or Steve Smith?
Steve Smith.
Me too. Who you taking, Torrey Holt or Hines Ward?
Torrey Holt.
Okay. I was just trying to close the argument. And I would take Hines Ward over Anquan Bolden. It's close, though.
It is close because I said,
and I don't know. I might take Anquan, man.
Yeah, but
Anquan was their wide receiver 1 in Baltimore when they won it. So.
Yeah, and they're kind of the same dude. They built on toughness, and Anquan Bolden, for me, is special because he played quarterback at Florida State, played wide receiver. He's just he never really got his due either, and it's all because he doesn't run very well. But he's a good person, a good man, tough. And NFL guys respect the hell out of him, but that doesn't mean you're a Hall of Famer. Fred Taylor,
tell me about Fred.
He's
Taylor.
a Hall of Famer. Eight seasons where he averaged over 4.6 yards a carry. 8. Mm-hmm. That's a Hall of Famer to me. He averaged 4.6 yards a carry for his career, but in 8 separate seasons, he averaged 4.6 yards a carry. I think he's in the top 15 in rushing. He's a Hall of Famer. 6'1", 230 pounds, ran a 4.3. All of his peers said that he was ridiculously talented. Ray Lewis has said it. Derek Brooks has said it. Warren Sapp has said it. The great Jim Brown has said it, that he's basically, when you see Fred Taylor, you saw Adrian Peterson. LaDainian Tomlinson said he modeled everything after Fred Taylor and would watch to see what Fred Taylor did. He physically had it. He did it on the field. 8 different seasons over 4.6 yards a carry. I think he's a Hall of Famer, and I don't even think it should be even discussed.
I can argue with you. I'm not sure he makes it this round. He's certainly not on the lock list. We'll see. And that's what makes these debates a lot of fun. And
what's weird, though, what's wild is he was one of the top backs. Every year what hurt him, they talk about Pro Bowls and all of that stuff. He played, though, when some guys in the AFC, because LaDainian was always going to go. But then you had these other dudes, like Jamal Lewis had a 2,000-yard season, right? Mm-hmm. And then another year, Priest Holmes went ballistic. So you had these dudes that had these 1 year here, 1 year there, and it was all during the time when he was just consistently going on about his business every week.
Mm-hmm. I get it.
Chris Johnson went for 2,000 yards twice, and Fred was just going about his business just every single week. And because those guys would have those seasons like that, that would push him down a little bit. And then you had LT, who was always going to do it. So it was like, that's what it was. Curtis Martin was kind of the same guy, just going about his business, chugging along every week. But he got his due. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that he played in New York and New England, and Fred played in Jacksonville. And that's the bias that I'm talking about.
I get it. No, I get it. Heck, there's a guy named Corey Dillon that isn't even on this list that to me was carrying a lot of bad teams and didn't even make the semi. No one even mentions him as a potential Hall of Fame. No one even mentions him. And he ran for 1,600 plus yards in New England and won a ring or two. So, yeah, it's one of those things where there's a lot of debates, and we'll see if Fred can get in. We'll see if Willie can get in. We know some of those locks are certainly going to get in. Up next, let's discuss Week 12. Our Week 12 power rankings are here. We'll dive into them with some teams that won, that dropped. We'll do that next.
Today's show is brought to you and sponsored by LinkedIn Talent Solutions. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. Trust me, I know. I run 2 small businesses, and it can be a challenge. You want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the right people for your team faster and for free. Can you imagine trying to staff a 10-chair salon with the eccentric personalities that's in that business without a little bit of help that makes you get the perfect match? Well, I went to LinkedIn, and you can do the exact same thing. What you have to do is add your job to the purple hiring frame, the hashtag hiring frame, to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring. Simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience, so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnfl. That's linkedin.com/lockedonnfl to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
All right, let's dive into these Week 12 power rankings. And no surprise, the Kansas City Chiefs remain on top, as they should. No brainer. What a win for them over the Chargers. The Philadelphia Eagles are second. They move up a spot. The Bills move up a spot to third. The 49ers fourth. Cowboys fifth. Dolphins sixth. Ravens seventh. Vikings slide from 2 to 8. Oh, my goodness. And the Bengals actually drop as well from 8 to 9, even though they beat the Steelers on the road. The Titans, who face the Bengals this week, are 10th. They move up from 12th. Your thoughts on the top 10, Tony?
I like it. I absolutely like it. I still don't think everybody, there isn't one unbeatable team on this list, though. Not one. Even Kansas City. I've seen Kansas City look like they could get gotten, especially by a real good team that can play some defense. So, but I really do. I like it. I don't think the Bengals should have fallen. I think they should have remained where they were. I probably like the Ravens right now a little bit better than everyone else, but those 49ers, man, I'm telling you, they're making a move, and they look really, really good.
The Dolphins are too high. I like the Ravens better than the Dolphins, Bengals better than the Dolphins, and the Titans have won 7 of 8. Why would they not be ahead of the Dolphins? So I think that would be the one. This back end, suddenly, like if I was buying stock, it would be nice to have 6 through 10, because I think the Titans are playing well. The Vikings, everyone's low on now, and we'll see. They got New England this week. The Ravens, look, they won ugly, but they still won. And the Bengals, they've been shorthanded, and they've won 4 or 5. So I like the back end of that top 5. 11 is Seattle, followed by Tampa Bay, trying to go on a run. They play the Browns this week. They've won 2 straight. They're 12th, followed by the Patriots, Giants, and Jets. Oh, my gosh, the Jets still in the top 15. Zach Wilson's crew. The Los Angeles Chargers fall to 16. Commanders 17. Falcons 18. Lions 19. Packers 20. It's ugly in Green Bay right now. And 21, the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, my man Alex Clancy is going through it with the Cardinals, but it turns out that he is absolutely right. Check him out on Locked On Cardinals. Of those teams that you just mentioned, I think the Chargers can still be dangerous. They just don't figure out how to win games. Those Commanders, man, are sneaky. You got to watch them with old Taylor Heineke, man. People forget that when the Bucs won the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, they gave Tampa all they wanted in a divisional game in the playoffs. Seattle is still a hard team, but your Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I say your because I talk bad about Tom Brady, they look like they're ready to start waking up and making a little bit of a run. And shout out to Bill Belichick for doing what he does as well. 22 through 32, Browns, Saints, Rams, Bears, Steelers, Colts, Jaguars, Raiders, Broncos, Panthers, and Texans. The Rams are a huge disappointment. They look like they got the itis where they just ate a whole bunch of turkey and just decided just to sleep through the rest of the season. The Colts still remain a disappointment. I think the Broncos might fire their coach after one season, because you can talk about why they're where they are, James, but you have to ask yourself, is he the one to bring us out of it? And I don't think he has what it takes to bring them back from where they are.
Yeah, it's wild. This back end is
The Raiders
wild.
too. The Raiders are terrible too.
Hey, they won. They won now.
Yeah. They
buckle up.
They beat the Broncos.
Yeah, they beat the Broncos. I know it. I know it. Believe me. It's the Broncos favored this week, by the way, according to BetOnline, against the Panthers, which is interesting. So, yeah, this slate is rough. There's a lot of ugly matchups, at least on paper, in Week 12. But yeah, this back end, Deshaun Watson, one more week, Cleveland. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like you're going to be in it, at least for you. Andy Dalton keeping the Saints alive a little bit. But you're right, the Rams. I thought the Rams were going to have a little bit of a puncher's chance. You know, you get past the Saints, catch your breath a little bit. Couldn't do it. And now Matt Stafford in concussion protocol again. One of the worst, and it's not all their fault. Obviously, they've dealt with injuries, but one of the worst title defenses I think we've ever seen. I think that's fair to say.
Especially considering they still have guys that are in the top 3 at their respective positions in the league. Ramsey
is Jalen
Cooper Kupp. Well, somebody said it this week. I saw somebody reputable said he's like ranked 3rd. You know, but
I'm just asking because it does feel like, and I think it started in the postseason last year, but teams, they haven't shied away from him.
No, but he's not. He also, like against Hopkins, he didn't get destroyed. He was right on him every time, and it was like just a real good catch.
Yeah.
You know, I don't see him getting picked on as much, but when you talk a lot, that's what happens. Everybody blows everything up.
No doubt.
But yeah, I still think he's real good. They have to settle on a position for him, that star position. Just play him at corner, because if you don't, when you stick him out there, if he hasn't had reps out there, he's going to get beat.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. These guys will punish you for not having those reps over and over again. So, but having Aaron Donald, Cooper Kupp, and Jalen Ramsey being top heavy, it got him a title, but now it looks like it's costing them because they look terrible. They look absolutely horrible as a team, man. But hey, man.
But by the way, real quick before we leave, Odell Beckham Jr., you better not go to the Giants. You saw who they are. Do not do it. It's phony season.
He's going to Dallas. He's going to Dallas.
He better. At least they got a shot here. You cannot go there and catch passes from Daniel Jones. Do not. I don't think you're going to win in Dallas either. Tony Wiggins will put on all of his Cowboys gear, OBJ. If you
I don't have no Cowboys gear on. I can't stand those jokers. But the thing is,
man, you are about to be OBJ'd up. You're about to have
I'm not.
Photos in the back.
No, I'm not.
I can feel it.
I'm not. I just try to be real, man. Dallas got a lot of talent, and they can rush the passer. You know, I love teams that can rush the passer.
He should go to Tampa, but
I actually think, I think the 49ers right now are looking like the team that nobody wants to be screwing around with.
So should he go there? That would be interesting. If I'm San Francisco, I'd be interested. I would load up. I would load up.
Yeah. They got a lot of people.
But the Giants, I wouldn't even take a meeting, man. What are you doing? What are you doing?
No.
It's the Giants.
And it's Daniel Jones, right?
Well, yeah.
So much for New York, New York. We did that show a few weeks back, and that kind of blew up in our face a little bit.
No. The Jets just hold on a little. They may kick the crap out of the Bears this weekend. All
right, we'll see. Man, enjoy your Thanksgiving, man. You guys take care of each other. Enjoy your family. Eat a ridiculous amount of food, and
I'm hungry right now.
Absolutely enjoy yourself. Until next week, it's Tony Wiggins and James Rapien. We'll take care of each other. We'll see you.